Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Investment Trends, where we discuss the latest news in the stock market and the economy. So for the month of June, we have seen three major themes in the market. First and foremost would be some type of peace deal with Iran and the ongoing conflict there. The second thing is we saw the new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh hold his first meeting. And the third thing would be around the technology sector. So semiconductors, and we obviously had the IPO of SpaceX and what that has led to with, most importantly, the NASDAQ and how some of the technology sectors have been performing so far this month. So first and foremost, the Iran peace deal. So it was announced back on June 16th that we would see some sort of deal arranged with Iran, and the market reacted very positively to that. So back on June 16th, we saw a sharp increase in the NASDAQ, S&P 500, and the Dow Jones on the expectations that there will be some sort of agreement in place. However, as the week led on and there was more and more news that broke in that area, we did see the market tend to slide pretty sharply after that, leading into what we saw that following Monday, which was a pretty big tech sell-off as we saw the NASDAQ drop by about 2.2%. And some of the individual companies within that, such as Micron and some of the other semiconductor chip-making companies, had been on a pretty steady slide since that sharp increase that we saw on June 16th. So it's been pretty volatile for what we have seen in the market. Obviously, we also got the IPO with SpaceX that we saw last Friday, which led to a pretty sharp increase in their stock price. However, it is something to watch as there's been some ongoing volatility within that stock, which was to be expected. So a couple of things to note is, one, this could be some opportunities for times to get into the market, as we will see the Micron will report earnings at the end of the day on Wednesday. And some of these stocks that have had double-digit swings on a daily or a weekly basis might be time to use some strategic buying or even some dollar cost averaging to get into the market as we see things start to dip. So far, overall, on the year, for about the first 6 months of the year, we are still in positive territory in all three major indexes. So as we have seen already this year, as the market tends to be pretty resilient. So keep a long-term focus in mind when we start to see some of the news that is breaking and what that might lead for the market. Also in the news, as we had mentioned, new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh took over and he held his first meeting, and he did seem a little bit hawkish. So he decided to keep interest rates steady where they're at, which at the time of the meeting came as no surprise to anyone. However, leading up to that meeting, they thought that there might be some interest rate cuts. So now the probability of pricing in any interest rate drops throughout the back half of this year has gone down significantly. Many people are pointing to the sharp price that we have seen in energy and gasoline prices and what that might do to inflation. Also, the inflation reading coming out a little bit higher than we expected does also not help the cause for possibly reducing interest rates. So obviously, it's something to keep an eye on, as what was deemed to be a very, president-friendly Fed as his new appointee, Kevin Warsh, takes over. Could be a little bit of a reversal from that as we're starting to see inflation start to creep up, and we may not get the interest rate decreases that we were expecting. So that's all that I've got for this week. As I mentioned, if there's any certain stocks or sectors that you're looking at, feel free to leave a comment below.
The content of this video is intended for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing presented here constitutes investment advice, a securities recommendation, or solicitation to buy or sell any financial instrument. The views expressed are our own as of the date of this recording and are subject to change without notice. As financial professionals, we may hold or manage client accounts that hold positions in the securities and companies discussed in this video. Those positions can change at any time. All data and information referenced is sourced from publicly available materials believed to be reliable. However, accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed, and past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. This content does not account for your individual investment objectives, financial circumstances, or risk tolerance. We encourage you to conduct your own due diligence and consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional before making any investment decisions.